the Spirit is love and joy, peace and patience, kindness and goodness, faithfulness and gentleness and self-control.
So this is session 2 of Holy Spirit part 2. The next attribute after love is joy. Now this joy is different from happiness because happiness is really circumstantial. It just depends on what's happening for us at the time. But the joy of the Spirit refers to a deep inner joy. It sort of settles deep within our soul and it doesn't move. It leads to a settled sense of contentment, satisfaction. It's a joy that's based on the divine reality. In Nehemiah chapter 8, in verse 10, we read stories of how the exiles had returned from to Jerusalem and rebuilt the city, and they were gathered to hear the reading of the law by the priest Ezra. And they were so touched by the reading of the law that they began to weep. But Nehemiah said to them, "Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." God gives us an inner joy when we know him, and we know that he is for us. We have joy in knowing that in God's kingdom we'll be with him after this life. 1 Peter 1:8. Though you've not seen him, you love him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy, for you are receiving the end result of your faith, the salvation of your souls. In Hebrews 12:2 we read about Jesus. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, had sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus was able to endure the cross for the joy of its outcome. When speaking to his disciples about his coming death, Jesus said they'd have grief for a while, but then their grief would turn to joy. And he likened it to a woman giving birth. There's pain, but the pain is forgotten when she experiences the joy of her new baby. And so he says they'll grieve over his death, but then they'll rejoice. He's alive again. And so he says in verse 22, "I will see you again and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy." Further words to them as he prepared them for what lay ahead in John 15:10. "If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love." And then in the next verse, "I've told you this so that my joy might be in you and your joy might be full." It's the presence of Jesus within us through the Holy Spirit who brings us that inner joy and contentment, no matter what's going on. But we're also commanded to rejoice. Philippians 4:4, Paul's final exhortation to the people of Philippi, "Rejoice in the Lord always." I say it again, rejoice. In Luke 10, he tells us what to rejoice in. He just sent out disciples to go around the different villages and preach the gospel to them. He gave them the authority to heal and to drive out demons. And when they came back, they were jumping for joy and they said, "Lord, even the demons submitted to us in your name." And Jesus' reply was, "However, do not rejoice that the spirits submit to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven." The real thing for us to rejoice about is that Jesus has rescued us from punishment and death and offered us life.
Jesus put this song into our hearts. Jesus put this song into our hearts. It's a song of joy no one can take away. Jesus put this song into our hearts. Jesus taught us how to live in harmony. Jesus taught us how to live in harmony. Different faces, different races, he made us one. Jesus taught us how to live in harmony. Jesus taught us how to be a family. Jesus taught us how to be a family. Loving one another with a love that he gives. Jesus taught us how to be a family. Jesus turned our sorrow into dancing. Jesus turned our sorrow into dancing. Change our tears of sadness into rivers of joy. Jesus turned our sorrow into a dance. The fruit of the Spirit is love and joy, peace and patience, kindness and goodness, faithfulness and gentleness and self-control.